Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jamie the Crafty DIY Guy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing some DIY projects that all feature twine. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I am actually the co-host of the monthly Twine It Up Challenge that Creations by Favi hosts each month. Now, if you're not familiar with Creations by Favi, you definitely need to check out her channel. She has some fantastic DIYs and she does a lot with twine. In fact, she hosts a monthly Twine It Up Challenge that is an open playlist. So if you want to participate with her and with us, you can easily do that just by contacting Favi, telling her that you want to be a part of the next Twine It Up Challenge, and she will tell you all of the details. Now, before we get into the videos, I do want to, of course, say thank you to my subscribers, my long-termers, short-termers, the OGs, everybody in between. Thank you guys so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. If you're brand new to the channel, maybe even YouTube recommended the video to you, thank you, YouTube. And hopefully you'll stick around to become a subscriber. All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, everyone, and for my first project, we're going to use one of these Dollar Tree vases and also a bundle of twine. This one happened to come from Amazon, but you could certainly use twine from Dollar Tree or Dollar General, anywhere that you could get it. I'm using this Rust-Oleum dark steel spray paint that I love so much. It gives everything that you use it with a very cool kind of galvanized metal. This is kind of my cheat whenever I'm doing anything that is Farmhouse. This dark steel Rust-Oleum spray paint will be an absolute lifesaver, I'm telling you. And you could easily add some black paint or some dark antiquing wax to the top of it, and it really gives it a very cool galvanized metal look. So definitely look for this at like Home Depot or Ace Hardware or any of those types of stores. Now you can see that bottom half I did not paint, and that's because we're going to be covering that in twine, and I just didn't feel like it needed that paint on there. The rope or the twine is going to hold really well on the vase. I'm actually using some Surebonder all-purpose glue, and I am just literally going to add a large amount of the glue kind of around the bottom, and I'm going to do it for, I would say, at least the first couple of rows until everything has a nice hold on it. And then once it does have a good hold, I can freely kind of wrap that twine up the vase itself. You don't have to glue every single row, but you do want to make sure you have at least the first 2 to 3 rows really glued down and holding that twine in place, because that is really going to serve kind of as your base for this. Now, once you've got those first couple of rows, you can really start moving along nicely. You can wrap a large majority of this and then just kind of add glue a little bit up and down the vase as you're going. That will be perfectly fine for this. If you're going to put it maybe outdoors on a patio or on a deck, I would go ahead and definitely use a little bit more glue, maybe even something that was better for weatherproofing or for outdoors. And then once you kind of work your way up and you get that bottle covered, you will see that it gives it a very cool kind of farmhouse look. And I love the way this turned out. It's so simple. It's so easy. It's super transitional. I think that this would actually go with a lot of different decor styles. And it definitely has a cool, very modern farmhouse vibe to it, which I personally like a lot. And my next DIY project in the Twine It Up Challenge is going to be this pennant set that I'm actually going to be embellishing and kind of creating, I guess making it my own, really. This was from Target Dollar Spot, and then these florals are actually from Michael's. For the pennants, pretty straightforward. They come with these cardboard pieces and then these lace pieces, and all I'm going to be doing is assembling these together. And you could do this a lot of different ways. You could really just have that cardboard piece by itself, but I'm actually going to take that piece and I'm going to layer that lace piece on top of that cardboard. My guess is that's probably how this is supposed to be. But again, this is totally up to you. So if you wanted to recreate or make something even brand new on that cardboard pieces or even on those lace pieces, by all means, do it. Now, for the twine that they included with this, it frays a lot. There's a lot of frays at the end, and it's going to make it very, very challenging to thread this through those pennants. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take some of my Surebonder hot glue and I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue down on the end of it. I'm going to let it cool for just a few seconds and I'm going to, ouch. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make it a little stiff on the end. That way it threads through those pennants really, really easily. You can see that there's already some holes there. And again, this does work. You do have to add a little bit of hot glue kind of every so often. And once I pull that piece of long twine all the way through that pennant, doing it very carefully, of course, because these are paper, they're going to tear. Now I'm going to take my white beads that I have. These are beads that were left over from Christmas garland. If you can get to Walmart and get the beads that they sell on the Christmas garland, they are perfect for using for beaded projects and tassels and such. I bought every single color they had last year, and I'm so glad that I did because now I don't have to paint wood beads. So I'm taking 3 of the white wood beads and I'm just kind of tying a knot in between my pennants, and then I'm putting on another pennant, and then I'm going to add more beads. Again, just doing 3 beads. I wanted to do all white. I originally was going to do black and white, and then I thought, well, with those flowers, that maybe I would just keep it all white and just keep it very kind of classic looking. And again, I love the way that this looks, and those flowers that I'm going to be adding on from Michael's, those are great, but unfortunately, I did not grab enough of them. I only grabbed the 1 package, and they come with 6, and I have, I think, 8 pennants on my banner here, or my pennant banner. So I'm just going to go with the 6 that I have, and I'm going to put them in the center, and you'll see that there's a couple pennants on either end of it that don't have the flowers. I'm going to go to Michael's and actually finish this off properly because I have a neighbor that really loves farmhouse design, and I know that she would absolutely love this. My thought in this was that you could easily decorate a bedroom or something with it, but I also thought it would actually be really, really cool on a fireplace, and that's kind of what I'm thinking of when I give it to her. This is on my fireplace. Now, my decor style at my house is not farmhouse, but as you can see, it's going to look beautiful on a farmhouse styled mantle. This is just to kind of give you an idea of something to do with this. I think that this would be really, really pretty, even tied like at the top of an armoire or something. Again, super, super classic, very, very fun, and an easy project to do with twine. My next Twine It Up challenge item is going to be this vase. I loved that this vase had this ribbed effect to it, and I found this twine on Amazon, which I am obsessed with. I love those little silk leaves that you see on it. I think it's so pretty. And then I grabbed this wooden fork and spoon and knife set from Dollar Tree. The first thing I'm going to do is take the spoons, and I'm going to cut the spoon part. I guess that's the spoon part. You know, the part where the good food and the ice cream and stuff is. And I am literally just going to take my Lineman Pliers there, and we are going to cut the spoons off, and we're going to get rid of those handles. I actually do save those handles, though. I can use those for all kinds of other projects. Sometimes I even use them for like paint stir sticks and everything. And again, we're just going to be using 4. I do end up cutting up 5, but I only ended up using 4. I do think you could easily do like 8 of these, though, and you'll see why in just a second. Now, I did take the spoons and I did trim them down a little bit closer, and now I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue right on the edge there, and I'm going to join 2 of those spoons together, and you'll see that they're kind of in an arched form right now, and that's just the way that the the spoon bends on the actual stick itself that I cut off. So hopefully that's making sense. And you see that when I put it down, it kind of has that little arch there. And now I'm just going to take the other 2 spoons and I'm going to add some glue just right on the top edge of that, because we are going to glue those 2 together and we are going to create a floral petal with these. And wooden spoons are so much fun to work with. If you can grab these at Dollar Tree, definitely get them. There's There's also a brand that I work with sometimes called Eco Buddies that you can find on Amazon. And again, super, super fun, but I love the way that these look. And when they're all dried, it looks like flower petals. You can totally see how if you added even more of the wooden spoons in there, it would really, really look cute. Now, for the center of my flower, I'm actually going to take a wooden bead that does have holes all the way through. And I'm just going to take that side that where my fingers are, that's where the holes are. You want to make sure that those holes are facing to the left and to the right. So in the side, and you'll see why in just a second. But again, super, super cute way to just make a cute little wooden flower. Now I'm going to take this twine, again, that I picked up on Amazon that I love so much. It was $3.99 for this big bundle. And I am going to take my twine and just kind of cut off a decent amount. And again, I'm just going to be gluing this to this vase. Now, this vase I picked up from a local consignment store. I think it was $1, like it was like $1.03. And again, I'm just going to take that twine. And for this one, I'm only going to wrap it around the center of that vase there because, again, I think the vase is really, really pretty just the way that it is set up. And I'm going to wrap enough of this twine around it to where it kind of looks like a bunch of vines are growing around this vase. Because, again, that twine with those little silk leaves on it, I just love the way it looks. I'm totally obsessed with it. And I did go through and just kind of pull out some of those leaves just so they were a little fluffy looking. Now I'm going to take a generous piece of twine and we're going to cut that off. And for this end, because it is fraying just a little bit, I am going to do my hot glue trick again. And we're doing this for two reasons. One, because of the fraying, but more importantly, we're doing that because we are going to thread this through that hole on that floral that we made, that wooden flower that we made with the bead and the spoons. And that's why you want to make sure that you keep those holes on the sides of your flower. So you can go ahead and just pull this through and it will be, it'll be a little snug, but then once it gets going, it goes really well. Center your flower, and then you're going to take your flower and you're literally just going to tie it on to your vase. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just center my flower up and make sure that it's perfectly centered there, or at least, semi-perfectly centered. And I'm going to take my twine and just wrap it around. And then I'm going to tie it in a very simple knot. I'm going to tie it in a knot right underneath the flower where it will be tucked away and you won't even see it. And then those extra pieces there, they just kind of hang down like it's part of the flower. And I really do love the way that this looks. They're a little long, so I am going to go ahead and just trim them up a little bit and get that end nice and clean looking. And I do end up going through and adding another piece of twine just to the floral part of it because it just kind of finishes it off and it makes it look really, really cute. Now I'm just going to play with the twine a little bit, adjust it, and maybe even add a little bit of glue underneath there just so it will hang straight as possible. And when it's all done, this is what it looks like. Again, super, super cute. You could very easily take those wooden spoons and you could stain them, you could paint them, you could do all kinds of great things with this. And I just love the simplicity and the, just kind of natural tones that you get with the twine and with that wooden flower. Right, and for my last one, we are going to take this large canvas that is 16 by 20. I actually picked this up at Dollar Tree Plus. It was $3. And then I had this roll of twine that I thought I was going to use, but you will see that I end up going with a different kind of twine that you've already seen in a previous project. Now, the first thing I did was take my canvas and I did remove it from the frame itself. The canvas, I just kind of pulled the staples off and just removed it. I can save that for another project. No reason to tear that or split it or rip it. I literally just popped the staples and it came right off. Now, for the paint, I'm using a chalk paint that is, I believe, by Folk Art, and all I'm doing is just going around and using that on the frame itself. And I am going to take that chalk paint and just go over it. I did end up doing, I think, 2 coats, and I did use my heat gun in between those coats. And again, I'm not really worried about it being perfectly white. I kind of went through and just kind of semi-distressed it a little bit. I don't know what was going on with the camera at the time, but unfortunately, you're not going to see that part. All I did, though, was after the 2 coats of paint dried, I did go ahead and just take some Dollar Tree sandpaper and just really hit the edges with it. And I did it really, really quickly. And then I am going to use this twine, which we used in the previous project, because I thought that it would really, really look good. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take my Surebonder staple gun here, and I am going to go ahead and just staple this down in the corner, and then I am going to tie it off in a little bit of a knot around that staple, just to make sure it stays into place. And now I'm going to take the twine, go to the opposite end, again, take my staple gun, and then I'm going to start doing a zigzag pattern back and forth. Now I start off kind of wide, and then as I'm working my way down towards that bottom corner, you'll see I start to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then once I'm in that corner, it's time to go ahead and just bounce it around and start going back the opposite way. I decided to go ahead and kind of loop my twine in and out through the zigzags, or the first row. And as you can see, it's a little tough because I didn't cut it off of that spool, because I didn't know exactly how much I would need from that spool. But it was fine. It actually did work out okay. As I ended up getting to the end of this, though, or towards the kind of the finale of the board that I'm creating here, I did end up just kind of cutting it, because at least then I had a better idea of kind of when I would be done. And again, I'm just kind of going back and forth and recreating that pattern, and doing another zigzag and playing around with it, and just creating something that I think is very visually appealing. I'm not necessarily trying to make this perfect. I'm not trying to make it go in very even directions. I'm tightening up that end there. That's kind of what you see me fooling around with down there. And, because the staples will come kind of loose if you don't. I went back through and actually took a hammer and just kind of tightened up all my staples, so you could do that as well if you wanted to. And then again, just kind of working that twine back and forth and stapling it down and zigzagging back and forth until I have a pattern that I liked. And then I simply added some clothespins, and this became a bulletin board. I loved that I removed that canvas, because it's got that, not a clear backing, but I think you know what I mean. There's no backing on it, so those purple walls that I have in my craft room are showing through. And, this is such a great way to display maybe some important mail. I have a residual check there from SAG on my bulletin board. I have my passport, because I'm going to be going on a trip. I've got all kinds of great stuff on there, and you could literally use this for anything. Your kids, schoolwork. It's such a great way to display something, and it's a fun way to use twine. Hey everybody, it's Jamie again. Be sure to leave me a comment below. Let me know what your favorite project was today. Also, be sure and check out Favi's channel, not only on YouTube, but also on Instagram. I've linked both of her channel and Instagram and all the things below. Also, be sure to check me out on all of the other social medias out there. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, and probably whatever other ones are going to come up soon. All right, guys, take care. Bye. Oh, Mr. Otis, you scared me. I didn't know what that was. Gotta think of something to do with this thing. Hair is like the rough day in the studio. Subscriber. All right, guys, let's get into it. That's one for the bloopers.